Include someone. Today. Open a door. Make the world a better place. Bully no more.
Everyone is different. We all have a place. Use kind words and friendship for all the human race. Yes. Yes.
Include someone. Today. Open a door. Make the world a better place. Bully no more.
No more. No more. Yes. 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 How do we know that we should give? Is it true that we should really try to turn the other cheek? Is it true that love and forgiveness and kindness are the answers we seek? Do unto others. Oh, do unto others as you would have them. You would have them do unto you.
All of us look within, seeking the path that we choose to follow. Where should it go? Do we see? Do we ask how we should try to be? Sisters, brothers, how do we know?
Is it true that we should really try to turn the other cheek? Is it true that love and forgiveness and kindness are the answers we seek?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to begin this evening's board meeting. And children, welcome. The school board meeting of March 17, 2005 is now called to order. The time is 6:04 p.m. At this time, we request that all cellular phones and/or pagers be turned off or put in the silent mode. Also, we ask that you please refrain from using flash photography except during the special presentations portion of the meeting. We would like to take this opportunity to remind the members of the public of the district's mission, which is to ensure that each child reaches his or her highest personal potential, and the district's mission to be a world-class school system. Prior to the start of this evening's board meeting, we have been enjoying the Singing Sea Stars from Tropic Isles Elementary under the direction of music specialist Ms. Susan Hamilton. They are the premier chorus for the school and consist of students from grades 3 through 5 who have successfully auditioned to be part of this chorus. This choral group provides its singers with an opportunity to come together to rehearse and perform a wide range of choral literature for children's choir, as well as learning proper singing and choral techniques. These students are also given the opportunity to perform in both school and community events such as this one tonight. At this time, the Singing Sea Stars will perform one more song.
Every moment I have power when I choose the thoughts I think. Every moment I have power when I choose the words I speak. I can keep it positive, it matters how I feel. I approve of who I am and positively free. I can, I will, I am positive. I can, I will, I am positive. I am. I can close my eyes and picture how I want my world to be. I am sure when I am firm, my happy thoughts are good for me. I believe in who I am. I know my thoughts are mine. I can change the script I write and positively shine. I can, I will, I am positive. 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 I am.
At this time, we'll take a brief pause to clear the performance area. Thank you so much, Singing Stars. We have really enjoyed your opening to our meeting this evening. Thank you. representative is Marissa Mazza. She is the Deputy Brigade Commander of the Wolfpack Academy Junior ROTC program. Marissa has served as a student representative once before while presenting the colors that evening. She is a senior at South Fort Myers High School as well as a dual enrollment student at Florida Southwestern State College and has achieved a GPA of 4.4. Marissa has been actively involved in the JROTC program over the past 4 years. She has commanded the color guard team and the female raider team. Marissa is a member of the varsity bowling and cross-country teams and is manager for the girls varsity soccer team. She also serves as the treasurer for the Student Government Association and is a member of the Superintendent's Student Advisory Council. Marissa will be attending the University of Central Florida, where she will major in event management and marketing. Welcome, Marissa. We're glad to have you here this evening. This evening's agenda includes the invocation, the presentation of colors, and the Pledge of Allegiance, 6 recognitions, 1 acknowledgement, public comment on agenda items, consent action items, which include 1 item under resolutions, 3 items under executive services, 9 items under business and finance, 9 items under operations, 5 items under teaching and learning, 1 item under unfinished business tabled items, 6 superintendent's recommendations, 2 of which are good cause. Dr. Graham, please provide an explanation for these items.
These are job descriptions that we discussed at the last board meeting, and I was given some instruction on adjustments that you wanted, well, things you wanted me to look into and get some feedback from the community. That's been accomplished, and we're eager to be able to advertise the positions. So I bring the job descriptions forward for approval.
Thank you. As presiding officer, I find there is good cause to add this item to the agenda. There will be non-agenda public comment and 4 items under other business. Board members, is there a motion to adopt the agenda? So moved. Moved by Mrs. Fisher, seconded by Ms. LaRiviere. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. 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 Motion carries 4-0. Mr. Teuber will deliver the invocation, after which Ms. LaRiviere will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. After the special presentations portion of the agenda, a brief recess will be called to allow those who wish to depart an opportunity to do so. Please rise for the invocation.
Dear loving Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of all that are gathered here today. Thank you for the many and abundant blessings that we share. Thank you for life itself and the measure of happiness we have to fulfill our callings, for our sustenance and our friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of being appropriate and bearing on these children and doing what we can to make their lives better. Therefore, I pray for our legislature, our governor, all of our various levels of government, and for this governing body, that you grant us the wisdom that we may make the right decisions, that we may do things that better our community and our children. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
At this time, please welcome Master Sergeant Todd Scott from Cypress Lake High School, JROTC, who will introduce the cadet presenting the national colors tonight. Master Sergeant Scott served 21 years in U.S. Army engineer units in Germany, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia, and numerous stateside Army bases. He has a Bachelor of Science degree in Human Resources Management from Park University.
Thank you. Tonight, the national colors for our Pledge of Allegiance are presented by Cypress Lake High School Cadet Major Kaylee Wright. She's a third-year Army JROTC cadet and the Panther Battalion Operations Officer. She's a member of the award-winning Raider team, as well as majoring in dance. She has achieved and maintained an overall GPA of 3.9 and is a member of the varsity softball team. Kaylee Wright is also the president of her 4-H club and a proud ambassador of Girl Scouts. In her 12 years of Girl Scouts, she has earned bronze, silver, and gold awards. Her future plans are to attend a 4-year university and earn her degree in long-term care administration. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. No. Maybe, but we'll get you squared away. Oh, absolutely.
Good evening. At this time, I would like the following individuals from South Fort Myers High School to please join me at the lectern. Mr. James Mark Jones, Veterinary Assisting Teacher, and Miss Melissa Lehner, Principal. The Lee County Teacher of the Year program provides an opportunity to recognize instructional personnel who foster excellence in education, provide local and district leadership, and have a proven record of superior teaching as evidenced by student performance. This recognition celebrates the contributions of teachers who demonstrate the ability to inspire a love of learning in students of all backgrounds and abilities. The recipient of the award for the 2015-2016 school year, Mr. Jones, has a very rigorous veterinary assisting program. His students enjoy and do very well in his class, and that is because of his passion for teaching. He is persistent about making sure his students have performed at their highest level. Mr. Jones' veterinary assisting courses and the accompanying Future Farmers of America chapter at South Fort Myers High are one of only 2 such programs in Lee County. Students are accustomed to participating in lessons with animals roaming around the classroom. Mr. Jones has also worked to bring large animals onto campus, as he believes veterinary assisting can only be taught and learned through daily contact with animals of multiple species. Mr. Jones's students leave his program well prepared for future endeavors. He recently certified all of his senior students as certified veterinary assistants and had 100% pass rate on the accompanying exam. The school board and the superintendent are pleased to recognize James Mark Jones as the Lee County School District's 2015-2016 Teacher of the Year. Congratulations.
First of all, I'd like to say that I'm humbled, truly humbled. This is a peer recognition program. I was fortunate enough to be recognized by the other teachers at my own school. These are the same individuals I see walking down the hall every day, and to be considered not just as good as them, but in their own mind the best of them is truly an honor. I'm from a very small town, and I'll make my remarks short. I had 93 kids in my graduating class. 75 of them I went to kindergarten with. My elementary school principal taught my father in the 2nd grade. I'm a 7th generation Floridian. Grew up on a small cattle ranch in North Florida. And when I moved to Fort Myers and Lee County, it was definitely a large cultural change for me. When my students walk into my room, I see students from a lot more diverse backgrounds than I ever experienced in high school as a student. I see trials and tribulations that my students go through that I never had to experience or couldn't even fathom. I see a diversity of students in my classroom that, again, I didn't know existed until I moved out of a rural area and into an urban one. So my outlook on life has been a little different from the very start. The one message I would like to share with all of my students, and especially my peers. I teach my students 4 very valuable lessons about what it is to be a man. These lessons were taught to me by the men that raised me, the ones from a rural environment. And they taught me 4 very important rules. They're simple, but they're difficult to live by. Rule number 1 is you don't hit girls. Rule number 2, when you're wrong, admit it. Rule number 3, don't lie. And rule number 4, protect people who are weaker and smaller than you. We spend every year in school, in class, going through trainings on how to stop bullying. I see students in my classroom every single day who don't have a father, or sometimes a father or a mother. This is not just a small portion of my classroom, but unfortunately probably the majority. I take it as a very serious responsibility to try to be a positive role model for my students. I may be the only positive male adult they get to see today. When those young ladies grow up and choose a husband, I may be the measuring stick they choose to measure him by. When those young men grew up to measure themselves in their own manhood, I hope that they use me as their measuring stick also. I've been getting a lot of attention lately, and I'm usually a very private person. However, the positive that has come out of this entire recognition program for me, hopefully, is that you follow these 4 simple rules. Rule number 1, you don't hit girls. Rule number 2, when you're wrong, admit it. Rule number 3, don't lie. And above all, protect those who are smaller and weaker than you. If all of us adults and students alike can follow these 4 simple rules, all of us will be uplifted by it. Those are the lessons that I try to impart in my classroom, regardless of my lesson plans. I try to live and lead by example. With that, I'd like to thank all of you for showing up here tonight, and all of my peers and superiors for recognizing me for this award. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to have Mr. Stephen Latour and Dr. Ann Cole, principal at Calusa Middle School, to please join me at the lectern. The Lee County Educational Support Person of the Year program provides an opportunity to recognize members of the district support staff who contribute to their school or department to build positive relationships with those he or she encounters daily. Each year, the district chooses one individual whose dedication and attitude exceeds the norm. The recipient of this year's award goes to Mr. Stephen Latour, Security Specialist at Calusa Middle School. Mr. Latour has been at the Calusa Middle School for 3 years. He now joins an elite group of people, the district's best of the best support personnel. Mr. Latour goes above and beyond every day to ensure that students get what they need. He teaches them self-control, leadership, respect of others, and it teaches them the skills and habits they will need to increase their achievement and success in life. He goes out of his way to work with parents, teachers, and the community to help students eliminating barriers to learning. He works to inspire a passion for learning and leadership, and he also developed a curriculum to train students on bully prevention. Mr. Latour started the Young Gentlemen's Club at Calusa Middle School. He volunteers his time after school on Tuesdays. He invites community members to speak to these young men and careers about leadership opportunities, community service, education, and positive choices that will enhance their lives. He received a grant to purchase a button-down shirt, a nice blue shirt and a blue tie, for each of these students. On meeting days, these young men are dressed all day long in their shirt and ties. They have developed a sense of pride, and many of them have increased achievement, raised their grades, increased leadership skills, and decreased their referrals. Additionally, throughout the week, you see them as beacons in their school, and they transcend the entire school with their behavior. The school board and superintendent are pleased to recognize and congratulate Mr. Steve Latour as the school district's 2015 Educational Support Person of the Year.
I would like to ask Lori Araby, 12th grade student at Estero High School, and Mr. Norm Hayboer, business teacher at Estero High School, to join me. Hi. What did I say? I apologize. Logan Araby is the winner of the Character Education Digital Design Competition for the month of March. There you go. The school board and superintendent are pleased to congratulate Logan for his creative design and supporting character education in our schools. Mary Lynn Rodriguez is coordinator of school counseling services. I didn't introduce you.
Boy, you talk about giving me a couple of tough acts to follow. Goodness. First of all, Mark, I've known you for a long time, and it was well deserved, and congratulations. I've had the pleasure of having Logan in class for, 3 years now? He really is a prime example of why I love my job and what I teach. He's a great young man, and I'm truly going to miss him next year when he goes off to FAU, correct? He's a member of my STEM at Work team and also the Estero varsity football team.
Tell you we're over here. This is all the good stuff. And now I would like to ask the following to please join me again at the lectern. Ms. Susan Caputo, principal at Bonita Springs Elementary. Ms. Alexandria Whalen, coaching specialist, health and physical education. Ms. Lisa Indovino, Safe Routes to School, Lee County Community Educator. And Miss Janella Hassel, a 5th grade student at Bonita Springs Elementary School. and I'll start reading while they're coming. 30 schools around the state submitted their top entries for the I'm a Safe Walker poster contest. Janella's poster, hi Janella, was selected as the winner. As the winner, she joined NASCAR driver Scott Lagasse Jr. and students, parents, teachers, administrators, and community safety advocates for the walk to school. On her poster, she drew children using the buddy system to walk their dog and wearing helmets to ride their bikes. She received a certificate and a neon green reflective backpack signed by Lagasse and took pictures beside him in front of his show car. Did you bring any with you? Okay. The school board and the superintendent are pleased to congratulate and recognize Janella Hassel for helping to promote walking safely to school and reminding everyone to be a safe pedestrian. Congratulations, Janella. We're very proud of you.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Janella, for entering the contest and letting your students and peers know how important it is to be safe when you walk to school and exercise and be healthy. So thank you for setting a good example.
I would like the following to please join me at the lectern. Dr. Douglas Santini, Principal, North Fort Myers Academy of the Arts, and Mr. Damon Essert, Principal of Varsity Lakes Middle School. The East Coast Technical Assistance Center, ECTAC, is a network comprised of 36 school districts across the state of Florida. In 2012, ECTAC launched the Exceeding Expectations project to honor schools whose students are exceeding expectations and provide the opportunity for these schools and those that are still striving for high levels of achievement to collaborate in the sharing of best practice and ideas. 2 schools from Lee County join a small number of Title I schools that have been identified as award schools in the Exceeding Expectations project. For the second year in a row, Varsity Lakes Middle School and, for the first time, North Fort Myers Academy of the Arts have been recognized for their efforts. They are invited to attend the Exceeding Expectations Conference on May 6th and 7th in Orlando. The conference will consist of presentations made by the award winners and a banquet in their honor. The school board and superintendent are pleased to congratulate Varsity Lakes Middle School and North Fort Myers Academy for the Arts for their accomplishment in Exceeding Expectations project. And Mr. Essert brought in Mr. Cook because he was the principal last year, and Damon is giving the credit to Mr. Cook. And he has... And he also brought staff members with him as well. Thank you.
Now, we thought that was a large crowd. Look at everybody who's still left. This last one is for all of you, so all of us are going to have to all fit in this little area. So, all right, we'll try to break it up a little bit. Hello, Thesbians. Now it's all about you. The Florida Junior Thesbian All-State Festival is an exhilarating gathering of the best middle school Thesbians from across the state. By showcasing students' talents, this festival provides an opportunity to exchange ideas and learning from others. The Lee County School District was well represented at this year's festival, with a large number of students being selected for various awards. I would like to introduce those students, their principals, and their teachers in groups, not all at once. So as I call your name, please come forward and line up in front of the board table and have your picture taken with the board members and the superintendent. We'll take individual pictures of each particular group. We're going to start with Cypress Lake Middle Art School. We're going to ask for the principal, Kelly Maniscalco, and teacher Keith White, and all the students from Cypress Lake. And as I read your names, Kenan Beck, Tristan Brown, Luis Calderon, Bryce Kingsley, Tiffany Mixon, Riley Nolan, Elena Saez, Bailey Wright, Marion Hanlon, Jenna Taylor, Samaria Williams, Ariana Butler, Allison Orbe, Charles Dumar, Carla Gouret, Deborah Howington, Christian Kearns, Jillian Morey, Madeline Morey, Summerlin O'Brien, Julia Pratt, Alexis Prophet, Joshua Rowe, and Scott Wells. Good job, Cypress Lake. Now Challenger Middle School, Principal Terry Kennedy and Teacher Michelle Hamstra. The students are Cheyenne Green, Kaylin Hill, Valerie Lilly, Riley Hart, Vanessa Rubio, Isabella Blanco, Madeline Ritter, Katie Means, Sierra Simone, Samuel Pewson, Marlo Moore, Tricia Moore, Avery King, Brooke Kastner, Riley Cremens, Amber Vasquez, Bailey Golf de Christopher, Alana House, Marilyn Connolly, Emily Longoria, Maddie Luz, Emma Paget, Kylie Rossell, Megan Santazina, well, I'll never get that one right, sorry, Rowan Stafford, Greya Van Cleve, Jacob Aguilar, Christian Davis, Samuel Delmont, Andy Guerrero, Michael Johnson, KJ Kluge, Fabian Long, Evan Nolan, Donovan Supa, Brandon Theophil, Brian Zola, and Anna Eppel.
And I'd like to give the credit to Mr. Masari, who ran everything, because my son was really sick. So thank you, Mr. Masari.
Lexington Middle School, Principal Linda Caprata, Teacher Suzanne Skinner, and the students, Ava Devine, Maddie Gleason, Bryce Hagan, Rachel Shaver, Katie Poinsett, and Juliana Zeltman. From Oak Hammock Middle School, Jennifer Snedden, Principal, teachers Kia Fernandez, Amberly Eaker, and Ashley Van de Vender. The students, Shantique Hill, Hope Maybrier, Gabriella Stallwood, Miranda Killingsworth, Charlotte Trapuka, Juan Morcacio, Josh Eaton, Melina Watson, Kennedy Stan, Kelsey Skates, Jay Chenard, Julie Kuhn, Joan Ruiz, Colby Barnes, Linda Lopez, Daisy Govia, and Kelly Medina. From Gulf Middle School, Donnie Hopper is principal. Teacher Carmen Crusard is the teacher. Students is Juliana Garcia Portillo, Chase Dye, Michael Riffle. Riffai? How do I do that? You gotta help me with that one. Jade Kimbrough, Skylar McGillicuddy, Haley Tucker, Justin Mulcahy, Madison Edos, Judah Avilas, Emily Licata, Rebecca Medaniel, Carly Beneventano, Hayden Baker, Ramona Baker, Mackenzie Guerrero, Gabriela Fernandez, Giovanni Francisco, Mackenzie Sylvia, Abilene Newsom, Kimberly Ray Pages, and Victoria Sikafus. All right, one more time. Where's Michael Refi? There you go. From North Fort Myers Academy of the Arts, Dr. Doug Santini. His principal, teachers Anna Begard Hazen, and the students, Dominic Bologna, Gabrielle Carthy Pierre, Dalton Clemens, Tracy Dunn, Jaylee Elisim, Kiera Etienne, Story Eva, Katie Farina, Alexa Gilfetter, Jezebel Guerrero, Marcos Gonzalez, Jacob Gusty, Maria Hernandez, Kevin Howerton, Tommy Lee Hunt, Chelsea Mack, Pamela Manning, Samuel Marzella, Jesse Masari, Stephanie Morganegg, Ariana Rodriguez, Casey Tester, Nekarelis Tovar, Kaylee Hernandez, Sophia Holler, Irola Sauer, Christina Villalba. Boy, I'm telling you, I'm going to have Dr. Santini do the rest of them, and Alexis White. I'm telling you. And Paul Lawrence Dunbar Middle School. Principal Dr. Nathan Shaker. Teacher says Teacher Michael. So give me Teacher Michael. Our students, Jeannie Akaval, Mitch Henderson, Ivana Tavera, Ruthie Taganke, Edward Cassidy, Natalie Del Sol, Kylie Kraus, Eleni Stillian, Grayson Walter, Mason Etzel, Julianne Nito, Victoria Regenart, Elsie Whitty, Annie Verdanian, and Annalise Mogenberg. And teacher Michael Lynch.
At this time, we'll take a brief recess so those who wish to leave may do so. But first, I'd like to say thank you, Mr. Teuber, for going through that list.
That's a lot of Thesbians.
We have another problem. Mr. Martin, please address the agenda item of public comment.
School board policy provides the opportunity to address the school board concerning items on the agenda or other subjects relevant to the operation of the school district. The opportunity to address the school board concerning items on the agenda occurs at the beginning of the meeting at this time. The opportunity to address issues not on the agenda for this meeting occurs later in the meeting, just before board member comment. If you completed a card and submitted that to me before the meeting began, you'll be called in the order of the card submitted, with speakers commenting on agenda items called at this time, and those commenting on non-agenda items called at the later opportunity. If you have not submitted a card but still wish to address the school board this evening, the school board chair, Ms. Morgan, will give you an opportunity in a moment to indicate that desire. When doing so, please indicate whether you wish to address an item on the agenda or some other subject. You may speak at both opportunities, but must limit your comments to a subject for which the public comment opportunity is provided. If you comment on an issue not on the agenda during the agenda public comment opportunity, you'll be required to hold your comments until the non-agenda public comment opportunity. The board does not respond during public comment time to remarks made by speakers. Comments concerning items on the agenda may be addressed by the board in their discussion on that agenda item before taking action. Comments concerning subjects not on the agenda may be addressed during board member comment immediately following non-agenda comment. Speakers are required to confine their remarks to educationally relevant issues. Attacks on individuals and abusive comments will not be tolerated. If speakers persist in violating such rules after receiving a warning from the chair, they may be removed from the meeting. Ms. Morgan, I have 6 cards this evening, 2 agenda and 4 non-agenda.
Okay, and before the meeting started this evening, I walked through and tried to hand out cards because, as some of you know, it has been difficult for me to figure out who's speaking on what. And so I thought if I got you to fill out the cards before the meeting started, that would help. The point of me calling on members of the audience after the meeting has started to ask if you have not filled out a card is really to acknowledge people who arrived late and did not have the opportunity to fill out a card. So I just want to encourage you, when you do come to a board meeting and wish to address the board, it would be very helpful to me and to the board attorney if you filled out the blue card indicating whether you were going to speak to a non-agenda item or an agenda item, and if it's the agenda item, what the item number is. I'm going to ask you to sit down, please, Mr. Valenta, unless you're the first speaker. I'm going to ask you one more time to please sit down so that we may start calling the speakers on agenda items. Mr. Martin? Is Mr. Valenta the first speaker?
No, ma'am. Please have a seat, Mr. Valenta. Sit down, please, sir. Sit down. And Ms. Morgan, you want to ask public if there's an additional speaker?
Anybody on the right side of the auditorium? And is that agenda or non-agenda? And I asked you to fill out a card. Did you do that? Okay. And what is the agenda item you wish to speak to? Anybody else on the right who wishes to address the board and did not fill out a blue card? Anybody on the left? Would you please give me your name and state whether it's agenda, non-agenda, and if it's agenda, what the item number is, please. I'll start in the first row. Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry? Sierra Susco. And I did not, yes, thank you. You're right.
I'm sorry. Lori, did you say you also have a non-agenda as well? Yes. Thank you.
And Tara, what is your agenda item? I'm sorry. The Lee County.
Counting a Teacher of the Year award.
Oh. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Martin, would you please call the first card?
Yes, ma'am. First speaker as to an agenda item is Mr. George Fox. Mr. Fox.
Wanted to address items in CE, Business and Finance. Once again, I've addressed this board on this before. Rubber stamping of these vendor contracts. I know the superintendent staff does their due diligence and their best that they can to put these together, but I firmly believe, having been, a vendor, working for vendors who's done this, that there is room for improvement in the price. I think this board can get a better bargain, can get the same services for less price. I'm really just not sure that when these come through, and I'm not criticizing anybody or saying that anything's wrong, but it's not double checked. It comes through, there's one, I don't know how many, it's hard to determine how many bids were received, and if the actual nuts and bolts, that the man hours and materials are checked. So once again, I'm going to try to bring this to the Finance Advisory Committee tomorrow and get it through the process, bring it to the board. But I would like to see the board create an Finance Advisory Committee similar to Mr. Martin that comes to the meetings, and when these agenda items are brought up for approval, they can give you the best advice that you can get, just like Mr. Martin would do on a legal matter, on a financial matter. This district needs to save money. That's the goal that I hear all the time, and I couldn't wholeheartedly agree. That's why I come in and I'm fighting for the sales tax, because it is such a superior method. But we'll get to that, the other thing. Thank you for hearing me, and have a good evening, and welcome back, Mrs. Fisher. I'm glad you're back.
Thank you.
And I'd like to compliment you on the presentation on TIP. Awesome. I'd like to say you're the best superintendent ever.
Thank you.
Next speaker to an agenda item is Ms. Mary Orthodoxa.
Superintendent, I, like Mr. Fox, am very concerned about the money we're spending on vendors. I don't see any open bids, especially for Lee County. We have so many people unemployed in this county, and I think it would serve our community better to see bids going out to our local community. I see here item number C6. This is the Sarasota Sign Company. We have sign companies in Lee County. How come we're not using our own people? We all talk about the children that are going hungry, or they're losing their homes. Maybe if we gave their parents some jobs. It's our tax money. I'd like to see it go to our own community. And I'd like to see more open bids across the board that the community votes on, because these numbers are way out of whack. Mr. Fox keeps talking about raising our tax. How about we start getting the waste under control first? Then I'll be all happy to give you more tax money, but right now I'm against that when I see these kind of numbers. And it seems like we're just giving carte blanche over to everybody and anybody, when the community doesn't even know who's bidding on these jobs. So please look into that. Also, the metric, I have my notes here. We're using the digital metric system to score. Why are we doing that when it's already been proven to have flaws in it? Why are we going to continue with a system that we know is not working? I would ask the board to please look into other avenues of tools. It seems like, I hate to say this, and I'm going to say it. It seems like Our superintendent doesn't want to put the footwork in to look into other avenues. So she's bringing things to the agenda, and you're voting on it last minute. This system is flawed. It's proven to be flawed. Why in God's name would we use this system in Lee County? I hope somebody has an answer for me, Ms. Graham. Thank you.
Those were all the speakers by card as to agenda items.
Okay, Mr. Valenta.
Good evening, and welcome back, Mrs. Fisher.
Thank
we
you.
missed you. My concern also is with the vendors, 4C6. H&H Signs, Inc., Robson Corporation, and Signs Plus are all companies based out of the Sarasota area. Why can't we find a sign company in our community to bid on doing signs for our community? People whose children go to Lee schools, people whose taxes go to Lee schools. I personally have made and installed thousands of signs for Lee County, Collier County, and Charlotte County school districts over my 32 years in the sign business, and over the many years as the production manager at Images Graphic Specialties. I currently work for one of the largest local sign companies in the area, who is more than capable of providing the necessary signage, including electrical signs, ADA signs, fish tags, wayfinding signs, and vinyl and digital prints. Yet no request for bid was ever solicited from Lee Designs, and I suspect from any local sign manufacturers. Why would we not support our local parents' businesses? Why would we collect their tax dollars only to send them out of the county to other companies to bid? Perhaps I should move to Sarasota, take my tax dollars up there, make all the signs for Sarasota and Lee counties, and the Lee County taxpayers can pay me to live up there and make more money. I urge this board to vote down this agenda item and put it out for bid to local sign companies for local dollars to be spent locally. For that matter, why don't we do this for all bids on all contracts? And I'm not looking for I would love to bid on it. I'm not saying it has to be me, but it should be my competitor. It should be someone local. It really should. Also, I talked through email with a couple of you when you were up in Tallahassee, and was led to believe that the board was going to pass a resolution supporting HB 1121 and SB 1496, and yet I don't see it on the agenda.
Let me stop you, Mr. Valenta. That's not an item on the agenda. Is there some other item on the agenda you wish to address? Sir, it's not on the agenda. Is there another item on the agenda you wish to address this evening? Well, let me ask you a question. No, sir. Is there another item on the agenda you wish to address this evening? Thank you. Please have a seat.
Ms. Fahey.
Good evening. Lori Fahey. I'm here to speak about the strategic plan metrics. And I noticed in reading over them that the majority of them are based on the Florida Standards Assessment, the FSA, and also on the FAIR test, which was actually canceled for this year. I know that we have a lot of valid data that we have in our district, and I think that it would probably be more reliable to use as a metric. The FSA at this point is totally unknown, and it's baseline. So I hope you'll consider using something else rather than voting to approve this. By using the FSA for the metrics on this, you're actually promoting the high stakes that are attached to that test. And I think we have all, as a community, decided we do not want that. On the other item, I just wanted to point out that we're again removing about $250,000 in hardware and software. Computers, technology are not an investment. We're adding another $600,000 in software and data instruction on two other items on the agenda. Just wanted to make that point. Thank you. Good to see you back, Mary.
Thank you. Tara Jenner.
I know you hear a lot of negative stuff, so I thought I'll start off with a positive one. I really like the change that has been made to the website access to the videos for the meeting just over the last several months. It makes it a lot easier to identify where different things are and skip ahead to where you need to focus your attention. So I personally appreciated that because it took hours before to go through all the material, and I'm sure it's helped each and every one of you as well when you're going back and looking at it. So I wanted to start with that. But I did want to mention that this evening I went to go look at the agenda online so that I would have all the attachments and not just the abridged version that's given here, because it's where the meat is located. And I'm having a hard time sometimes downloading it. I don't know if it's your system or mine, but I've tried it on both my cell phone as well on several computers. And just speaking with a couple of other people here today, they also had difficulty downloading it. So I'm just going to ask if you would maybe consider possibly putting it into 2 files, since the PDF files tend to take up an awful lot of space, and that might be what's lagging when you're dealing with like a 200-page type agenda item. It's just a thought so that it makes it. Am I done?
Sorry. No.
Okay. And the other item that I wanted to discuss was I wanted to just personally, even though I've done it directly, but just for public purposes, I wanted to congratulate Mark Jones on Teacher of the Year Award, and I would also like to thank those board members and individuals in Lee County School that supported him initially, and those that also subsequently went to bat with him after the recent brouhaha. So I just want to thank you for that. And just caution everybody, next time it's always easier to get it right the first time than it is to backtrack. It causes a lot less heartache for everybody, and it's a lot easier on the individual who has to do the backtracking as well. So err on the side of caution. We'd like to see that with our students as well, I'm sure. And again, an example being led by you, as Mark does with his students, might be a good step in the right direction. Thank you.
Next is the approval of action items in the agenda under consent. Board members, are there any agenda items you wish to pull for discussion under the unfinished business tabled items section of the agenda? Ms. Fisher.
I have none this evening.
Mr. Toiber.
I had none, but I'm going to pull C 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and D 3 and 7 for discussion.
Yeah, I was going to do the same, so.
Okay. I was going to pull, and the one I was going to pull is in there. So, okay. So we have, and did you have any others? No, that's it. So we have C 3 to 7, D 3 to 7.
Or just 3 and 7.
Oh, 3 and 7.
Well, you did C 3 and 7. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Well, then I want to, go ahead.
And I was going to pull C6.
Yeah, as was I. Okay. C6.
Yeah, no, I'm doing C 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 3, C through 7.
Okay,
but just D, just 3 and 7.
Okay, we were looking at C, so sorry for the confusion.
All right. C 3 through 7, D 3 and 7. Is there a motion to approve the agenda's consent action items with the exception of the pulled items?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Fisher, seconded by Mr. Toiber. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Included in the approval of the consent items on the agenda is the resolution proclaiming the month of April 2015 as National Autism Awareness Month. Okay, we have Thank you, Ms. La Riviere. I am determined to pass up on the character education word for March, but I'm not going to do it because we need to hear this word and we need to hear you talk about it. So, Ms. Mazza.
The character word for March is courage, the personal strength to face difficulties, obstacles, and challenges. Be brave and make positive choices. Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. By Mark Twain.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Marissa.
All right. So we have 7 items pulled, right? All right. Is there a motion for pooled item C3?
I need a recommendation first.
I'm sorry, C3. Dr. Graham.
I recommend board approval to piggyback State of Florida contract number 420420101 for the purchase of educational and instructional furniture awarded to multiple vendors for the period of May 3rd, 2015 through May 2nd, 2016 at the estimated annual expenditure of $300,000 with an option to cancel if deemed to be in the best interest of the district. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all documents.
Board members, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Teuber.
Second.
Second by Ms. LaRiviere. Discussion? Mr. Teuber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dr. Graham, the reason why I pulled this is, people in our audience astutely pointed this out, and I brought this up back in November when we did some piggybacking. When I asked the question, when we're doing piggybacks in different areas, and I understand there's a little bit of confusion. We don't go out and solicit people. We actually put the bid available, and people come and solicit us, and they submit a bid. But to make that knowledge, if you do a piggyback, they don't get to do that at all. And here's my concern. For example, in C7, this type of equipment is basically categorically just a standard equipment that you can buy from any vendors. We have probably 4 or 5 vendors here in Lee County that do it. California, they all do it, but it's all pretty much based from the same catalogs. And I'm pretty sure that the costs are pretty much the same because it's all nationally branded stuff that they get. But the pass through, the cash flow through those businesses, even though the markups aren't that great on those type of items, it does bring cash flow through our our local economy rather than having it go through California or all these other where these particular bids are, the state of Florida. So my question is, how much more work is it to do an RFP locally to get that information out, to get that same competitive bid so that we would actually have that information and compare it to our state of Florida? Even though the prices may not be any better, is it that much of an encumbrance to do that?
We have 6 people in the procurement department. And I'll just mention we have over $1 billion budget, so we do a lot of purchasing. I've talked to Dr. Desmore about this just today, actually. And part of the issue is, first of all, a Florida contract like this, there's every possibility it is the best price you can get because there are over 70 vendors represented in that, and I don't know who they are, but perhaps some of them are local. But the issue is, part of it is that we have a very low threshold for what has to come to the board with the $25,000 threshold, and when the state made a change to increase that, this board at some point in its history chose not to do that. So there is a level of work that goes with bringing things to you at that low threshold. And then the RFP process is very time-consuming for states. It's labor-intensive, and we have 6 people. So it's money, it's time, and to be honest, I think the effort is that we economize and be as efficient as we can. I can tell you that there is a process for local vendors to bid when we have the bid. Something like school furniture, instructional furniture in particular, not everybody sells. And the state has vetted out what companies do it and do it for a reasonable price. So it seems to make sense to go with the state bid because they've already done all that legwork for the entire state, and it's not unusual to do that. But there is a tremendous amount of time in the RFP process, and if we spend our time on that, then requisitions that we're required to bring to the board may slow down as well. So I would tell you it's as much about efficiency and working with the numbers of people that we have. We've had 6 people for a long time, yet the district continues to grow, the purchases continue to multiply, and it's very, very time consuming.
Ms. LaRiviere.
Okay, so we're just addressing C3, so I'm not looking at anything else. So I'm not going to discuss anything else then.
Right.
Okay. Well, and I understand that when you have the Florida contract, you're looking at all types of pieces that it's truly been vetted, so I have no question about going with that. But I also want to point out there is also within each of the ones that Mr. Teuber pulled, There is the statement, and there is an option to cancel if deemed to be in the best interest of the district. And so, therefore, one would rightly assume that if we were to find something that would be more profitable to us economically, we could cancel that at any time.
That is correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 4-0. C4, is there a motion, excuse me, Dr. Graham, would you please read the,
I recommend board approval to piggyback State of Florida contract number 425001121 for the purchase of office furniture and files awarded to multiple vendors for the period of April 3rd, 2015 through March 1st, 2016 at the estimated annual expenditure of $200,000 with an option to cancel if deemed to be in the best interest of the district. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all documents.
is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Teuber,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Fisher. Discussion, Mr. Teuber?
Let me just say one other thing. We put these amounts in because we don't know always which schools are going to want what. So it doesn't mean that all this money is necessarily spent. It just makes it possible for the schools and departments to have a place to purchase.
Any discussion, board members? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. C5, Dr. Graham, would you please read it?
I recommend board approval to piggyback Hernando County School District bid number 11-420/425-11RN for the purchase of classroom and other furniture used throughout the district awarded to multiple vendors for the period of March 17, 2015 through March 16, 2016 at the estimated annual expenditure of $300,000 with an option to cancel if deemed in the best interest of the district. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Teuber, seconded by Ms. Fisher. Discussion, Mr. Teuber.
On this one, Dr. Graham, and again, keeping in mind efficiencies, but the fact that they've already developed the RFP just to cut and paste and change Hernando to Lee County and submit it out into Lee County, I just don't know if that would be too cumbersome of a process.
We can do anything the board directs us to do. It's a tremendous amount of time, and it slows everything else down. But I will tell you that we don't just find a bid and say, okay, let's do that one. Prices are looked at and considerations are given, and I believe that procurement is doing its job and doing its due diligence before it decides to piggyback. But anytime we go out for an RFP, there is cost for us. There is cost for those who make the bid, and there is a time frame that slows down the process. And again, I just want to add to it, part of the reason, it's the same 6 people that do all the requisitions and the preparation of items we have to bring to you that are over $25,000. And if the board wanted to do more RFPs, staff would have time if they were able to only bring things that were a higher level. I think the state allows $50,000, and we just don't do that.
Mr. Teuber.
And I'm not going to go there. So.
Well, and I'm not even asking you to. I'm just giving you the rationale for why we're doing what we're doing.
And again, I guess my only query, to this board is, this is a new board. We've not seen the cost differential between how much we're saving versus going to piggyback bids versus the processes. What's the man hours and cost intensity to do an RFP, and then to be able to compare, is it cost efficient to do the piggyback, and what detriment to our, if we had that business, how many bids would actually be solicited in Lee County, and how much business would be in. We're the largest employer in Lee County. We are probably the largest spender in Lee County. For us not to look at to see the impact of Lee County, we keep saying about the economic impact this district has. Well, we would have a whole lot more if we spent a whole lot more in locally. And I know business, we have B&I networks and point-to-point business contacts. Everybody wants to do business among each other locally in our community. And I would just like to know is what would be the cost, and are we really saving that much money? The process being that much more efficient if we just cut and use somebody else's process. Put our name in there, send out the bid. How many people would respond? How much business would come in? And what would be that cost differential? Is it worth the amount of money to better our community? It's just a question I present to the board.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes, I actually had pulled all of these as a question to the superintendent, earlier before, and the information that I received back is that, we always, of course, are looking for local bids, and I noticed that some of them may have started in 2012 or even earlier, not necessarily on this agenda, but in previous ones. So I'm wondering, because we are a growing county and we probably have some new businesses here, is there more opportunity, and are we really getting the best bang for our buck, and are we getting, are we cost effective? Are we spending our money wisely, or are we spending it, out of convenience, and do we need more people in procurement, or you know what I mean? Or is there a statewide bank of information that would tell you where you can get the best buy on, this is a lot of money that we're spending on furniture. And that was why I had questioned that. So I feel like our staff works hard, and they provide us with long and detailed information when we ask a question. And then we need to trust that that is accurate information, and that the best deal is what we are getting, and that is often why we are seeing vendors from out of the county, because although they may have a location within the county, sometimes their home office is somewhere else, like Sarasota or like San Diego, California. So when I see this, and then I ask the question and get back that detailed information, I'm then satisfied, and that's why I don't pull the item, because I've been told that this is exactly why we're doing this, because this is a much better deal than we could get locally, or that somebody local does not have the capacity or the ability to fill the need. So I just wanted to put that out there, that I know people are working hard, and that they are doing their due diligence when they are investigating how we spend our money.
I'd also like just to add that first of all, you all get the agenda and you can ask about any bid you want. And what you're seeing tonight with all these furnitures, it's multiple companies to have multiple options. It is unlikely that we will spend up to however much in each one. It's so there are options. But again, I'm going to tell you that I am confident that procurement doesn't just randomly grab something. And to answer your question, Mr. Teuber, I'd be happy to give you on the data on how long it takes to do an RFP and what the process is when we piggyback, if that's the desire of the board.
Well, that's my question. It sounds to me like this is something that belongs in a workshop on Strategic Plan 7, and that becomes, when we talk about Strategic Plan 7, which is how we use our resources, that this be one of the questions that we ask staff to address at that time.
And just a side note, when I got here, we ordered some furniture for some areas, and there was a push at that time from the board, you need to order local, and procurement was the one who told me they really would prefer you order locally, so we did. And the items didn't come, and they didn't come, and when we finally said, why aren't they here, they were stuck in customs. And so we ordered from a local company, but the furniture didn't come from locally. So just a side note on this whole issue, because this comes up cyclically.
Ms. Fisher?
And then I just have one more question then. For instance, if we are looking at signage, and it's more of and it's a service as well as a product, is there a way of advertising in the business section of the local news so that people would be aware that that's available, or are we already doing that?
Our process is that there is a link on our website. Any vendor in the community, any vendor anywhere can sign up, and so then whenever we are putting out for a bid, it goes to all the people that have signed up. And
that's the same way the whole state uses that process, correct?
that would be,
Yes, the state uses the state.
I
for
would think
Lansman's
so.
business.
Okay. Well, we have, but it's on our website, it's procurement.leeschools.net. And so our procurement department has a database, and whenever we're going to go out on a bid for something, everybody on that list gets the information.
An automatic.
So that is our process.
Any more discussion? Ms. LaRiviere?
No, just thinking about myself when I was at one of our schools, and I worked along with spending our Title I money for furniture and pieces. And when I would put in my order for who I wanted to order from, procurement would say, "I'm sorry, but this is not the best price. Will you please show us 3 other bids, or you'll have to take the one that we have?" So I do know that they really do a very good job of making sure they sidestep us on the school when we make mistakes. And I know typically when I look at this, I'm looking at items that would be very specific school-based furniture, and I don't know how many businesses in the area would really focus on that. We used to have school stuff, or used to have other places we could order from that, and most of those businesses are no longer in existence. So.
Other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. C6, Dr. Graham, would you please read C6?
I recommend board approval to piggyback the School Board of Sarasota County bid number 14-0203 for signage, provide and/or install to H&H Signs Incorporated, Robson Corporation, and Signs Plus for the period of March 18th, 2015 through March 17th, 2016. The estimated annual expenditure of $120,000 with an option to cancel if deemed in the best interest of the district. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, is there a motion to approve? So moved. Moved by Ms. Fisher, seconded by Ms. LaRiviere. Discussion.
I would just like, this is one that you all received an email about, and I just want to say that we have a district bid for signs, and there are 2 vendors in Fort Myers, 1 in Naples and 1 in Sarasota. The reason we went to this one is that what we needed was a marquee sign, and none of the local vendors could respond to that and provide what was needed. And so the School Board of Sarasota County bid already had the ability, based on the bid we piggybacked, had the ability to purchase a marquee at a discounted price. And so, but our signs, we have 4 vendors. 2 are in Fort Myers, 1 is in Naples, and 1 is in Sarasota. And I have also, I got to talk to Mr. Valenta during the recess and shared with him the process to register a vendor.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, discussion? No. All in favor? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. C7.
I recommend board approval to piggyback San Diego Unified School District RFP number SV-15-0028-13 for the purchase of classroom and other furniture used throughout the district, awarded to multiple vendors for the period of March 17, 2015 through March 16, 2016, at the estimated annual expenditure of $200,000 with an option to cancel if deemed in the best interest of the district. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents. This one is an example of, there is a local office, but the home base is in San Diego. That's why it's a San Diego bid.
Motion to approve. Moved by Mr. Teuber.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Fisher. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. I believe, let's see, we're up to
D3.
D3, right, thank you for the prompt, appreciate that. D3.
I recommend board approval to piggyback State of Florida contract number 880000091 for audiovisual equipment awarded to multiple vendors for the period of March 17, 2015 through March 16, 2016, at the estimated annual expenditure of $30,000 with an option to cancel if deemed to be in the best interest of the district. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all documents.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Fisher, seconded by Mr. Teuber. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. And D7.
I recommend board approval to piggyback National Joint Powers Alliance, NJPA RFP number 031014 for the purchase of public utility equipment with related accessories and supplies awarded to Alltech Industries, Inc. for the period of March 17, 2015 through September 16, 2015 for the one-time expenditure of $212,057 with an option to cancel if deemed to be in the best interest of the district. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Fisher.
Second.
Second by Mr. Teuber. Discussion. Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did you say aye? Motion carries 4-0. I think that's it. Okay. We have a postponed item. Motion was made at the February 2014, Motion was made at the February 24th, 2015 regular board meeting by Mr. Stephen Teuber, seconded by Ms. Pamela Riviere, to approve the contracts with Innovative Designs for Education, IDE, for 2014-15, 2015-16, and 2016-17, to provide one-to-one technology-infused classroom professional development to all middle and high school instructional staff. The total cost over 3 years is $406,520, which equates to an estimated cost per student in grades 6 through 12 of $11.10. The action was postponed until the March 17, 2015 regular school board meeting. The motion is now on the floor. Is there any discussion? Oh, Mr. Teuber.
Is this one contract for all 3 fiscal years?
Yes, the total is for the whole 3 years. And this is a sole source provider. There is no other company that can provide the training we need to do our one-on-one technology initiative. It was researched and looked into, and procurement finally deemed through working with the company that this was a sole source provider.
Other questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Next is superintendent's recommendation, good cause.
Approval for the position of Senior Director, Technical Centers, pay grade 15. Approval of the job description and incorporation of the new position into the administrative salary schedule at a cost of $7,943.
Members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Fisher, seconded by Ms. La Riviere. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
Approval for the new job description for the position of Director, Adult and Career Education, and incorporation into the administrative salary schedule.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Fisher, second by Ms. La Riviere. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-1. Dr. Graham.
Approval for a one-time increase to the estimated annual expenditure for bid number B147170CP for the purchase of cafeteria kitchenwares and equipment from the vendors for the period of March 17, 2015 through June 2, 2015 by $600,000 for a total estimated annual expenditure not to exceed $1,300,000 pursuant to the same terms and conditions as previously approved by the board. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Is there, you have heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Fisher,
Second.
second by Ms. La Riviere. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
I recommend board approval to renew bid number B137093JM for two-way radio equipment and repeaters, installation, maintenance, purchase, and repair of handheld two-way radios mobile radios, base station radios, and desktop repeaters, along with all required hardware and installation awarded to Industrial Communications for the final renewal period of March 12, 2015 through March 11, 2016 at the estimated annual expenditure of $1,500,000. Pursuant to the same terms and conditions as previously approved by the board, approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. LaRiviere.
Second.
Second by Ms. Fisher. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
I recommend board approval to piggyback Hillsborough County Public Schools ITB number 12003 MST for epoxy plumbing awarded to Florida Pipelining Solutions, LLC for the period of March 28, 2015 through March 27, 2016 at the estimated annual expenditure of $2,100,000 with an option to cancel if deemed to be in the best interest of the district. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mrs. LaRiviere, seconded by Mrs. Fisher. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
I recommend board approval of the 2014 to 2017 district strategic plan outcomes with metrics.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. LaRiviere,
Second.
second by Ms. Fisher. Discussion.
I just have a question to ask, and it will make sure that I do understand exactly what happened and confirm with others. With regard to, if you look at the district strategic plan, page 4, where on item number 7, the number of students ready for kindergarten is determined by the Florida Assessment in Reading. The fair assessment will increase a minimum of 3%. If I understand correctly, this year with kindergarten, that was the first time that it was done one-on-one at the computer, if I remember correctly, and that's what caused problems. The assessment still continued, but it did not continue using the computer. Is that correct?
Yes, it did continue until everyone was able to complete the assessment.
All right. So the fair assessment did we did take it at that time. Fair assessment in the past was not always done via computer. It was often done paper, pencil, and other pieces. So that option was used this year. So that's what I thought. They still did the assessments, but not the way they wanted it to be done. But
And remember what we said in the beginning when it comes to the whole section on teaching and learning. As things unfold at the state as far as assessments, we may have to go back and look at the assessment, the instruments we use, as well as the numbers.
exactly.
Mr. Toiber.
And the same goes with our resource strategically placement of resources. If the bill passes for more general fund directed in schools, we adjust it accordingly.
This is a living, breathing document.
That's right.
Well, maybe not breathing, but it's a living document.
Any other discussion?
Make adjustments as
No?
needed.
Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. The next item on the agenda is non-agenda public comment. Mr. Martin, please address the agenda item of non-agenda public comment.
The rules that I presented before still apply. The time allowed per speaker is 3 minutes. The first speaker is Mr. Eric Rader.
Hello, I'm Eric Raditz, and I'm the director of the Fort Myers Film Festival. Just wanted to come out here today and say how happy I am to come before you and let you know that we have the Fort Myers Film Festival taking place March 25th through 29th this year. I brought some guides, and I know that I'm happy to give these to you here.
Thank you.
Also some postcards. I just want to say the power of film is become more and more something that everyone is aware of. As far as having a Fort Myers Film Festival, it's our 5th year. I know many of you have attended other film festivals. Sundance is a big film festival, Tribeca. By having one right here in our community, we have an opportunity to see independent films that make a difference. This is our 5th year, and we cover a wide range of independent films. We have 85 films this year playing from over 20 countries with varying subject matter. Many of these haven't been seen. Most aren't in distribution yet. And so it might be strange to have a film festival here in Fort Myers that's kind of ahead of the curve, but that's what we have. Our mission has been to kind of stay indie, my friends, and if you love independent films, you'll love films at the Fort Myers Film Festival. The reason I've come out here tonight is to, I've emailed you all, and I'd like to get word out to as many possible of leaders, administrators, teachers, parents, and students who are all trying to do their best to innovate ways into our educational system. And it just so happens that our opening night film, Most Likely to Succeed, is only played at Sundance and South by Southwest. It's a very exciting film. Believe me, I had to turn down a lot of other films to make this my opening night film at the Barbara B. Mann Performing Arts Hall, March 25th at 7 o'clock. Again, you're all invited to be my personal guests, and I'd love if you could continue to get word out to the right people. We'd really like to have the right leaders in the community there and the right parents and students. And we also are extending in a discount to teachers and parents on our website so that it's half off a ticket and all students can get in. It's usually a $20 ticket for only $5. So we really like everyone in Lee County's school system to come take a look at it and to mostly just start the conversation. It's not a film that necessarily has any answers, but we do think it starts the conversation, and I applaud you, this board, for being one to take a look at different ways to approach getting the best students in our community for our businesses and continuing to improve our community.
Thank you, Mr. Radich. Your time is up, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Mr. George Fox.
Okay.
What I've given you is a breakdown of the cost comparison between using a sales tax to pay for the Bonita High School and financing it with the certificate of deposit. The short story here is certificate of participation will cost the school district about $80 million in real money and about $73 million in present value. If the sales tax, that's to the taxpayer's expense. The sales tax would cost the same building, would cost $37.5 million, the difference of $35 million. This is a lot of money, and the mistake that this district in the state and the state legislature has made since '91 when they implemented this leasing program with the certificates of participation, basically what you can see there is every school building ever built in this state has cost twice as much as it ever needed to. It's a bad program, and this district should get out of it as soon as possible. We have state legislatures, and we all know who they are, run around and talk about a balanced budget amendment. They all want to have a balanced budget amendment, but they don't practice what they preach. I'm in here working this to balance, to get this district ahead. Superintendent is doing fabulous things with this district, and we need to make sure she's got money for this TIF program. We all saw today how fabulous it is. ROTC, I'd hate to see it all go down because we don't know how to finance our buildings the proper way. Half-cent sales tax is not that devastating to anyone, and the benefits are huge. Now, I've been in here for a year pushing this. using the proper methods, and many people who oppose it don't come in here. Just because you're elected to a state office or a county office does not give you the right to work back channels to submerge a deal. Every citizen has the right to come in here and influence their school board. Now, the Finance Committee and the Construction Committee have approved this and recommended it to the board. The board took that recommendation, did a workshop, and at that workshop, it was a 5-0 vote that they would proceed. So on the agenda of the next meeting, I insist and I demand that is put up for a vote. Now, you can vote up or down. That's your right. You were elected, and that's what you're here for. But if that thing gets submarined and doesn't appear in open, then I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to whatever I got to do to make it happen. If you're going to, if it doesn't here, then there is no system. The public has no voice. So keep that in mind. I hear lots of things just like everybody else does, and I don't like rumors. Everything should be done in the open, and if there's anyone who's opposed to the sales tax, they can come in and make their case. This is debate, and elections are what this country is all about. And if this board doesn't do it, then what are we? This country doesn't exist if we don't have a process and stick to that process. Whether you like the results or not, there's a lot of things I don't like, but I respect the process. And if you turn the vote down, I respect that.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Your
Thank
time's up, sir. Next speaker is Mr. Kevin Regal.
I would like to start off by wishing everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. I would like also to thank board members Mrs. Dozier and Mr. Toiber for taking time out of your schedules to meet with me, and to Superintendent Graham and Dr. Pruitt for also meeting with me regarding these serious issues that I've brought up over time and brought to light. I look forward to our follow-up meetings and to the immediate resolution of these matters. Thank you again for your time and your concern, and to everybody who's talked to me about these issues. I really appreciate it. Next, I wanted to actually go to a whole different issue, which is to say how wonderful it is to witness what is transpiring here in Lee County. We see how vigorously the Stop Common Core group members and our own board members here are working, and the many numerous miles you are chalking up, pun intended, to travel all over the state to address the amount of testing that the students face here in Florida. As a result of your dedication and commitment, and your continued voices speaking on behalf of the students of Lee County, change has already started to take place, and discussion has been initiated with our lawmakers at the state level. We all know that change takes time and often is very, very slow, but the recipients of this movement that you undertake are our very own students here in the county. As a teacher, I wanted to thank you again for your dedication in these matters of testing to our students. Thank you.
Those are all the cards, Ms. Morgan.
Okay, Mr. Valenta?
Thank you. I want to thank the only school board member, and I won't say who, to have attended the Chris Ann Hall presentation a couple weeks ago. And while he didn't attend the Duke Pesta presentation, he did meet with Duke and Chris Quackenbush for about an hour or so to learn a bit more about the pure evil of Common Core. I sincerely hope he walked away with it as a changed man as I did when I first started learning about these evils being perpetrated on the American public, and especially our children. My daughter and I joined over 100 other citizens in Tallahassee 2 weeks ago to urge support for HB 1121, SB 1496, the Stakeholders Bill, which puts control back in the local hands of our school board and parents and citizens. We met with many legislators, and the support numbers are growing, but we can't sit on our laurels now. Now is the time to hit every legislator with emails and phone calls, urging them to not only vote for these bills, but to support it by signing their names to it. This is going to make it next to impossible for the leadership to ignore it and sweep it under the rug. Unfortunately, Fort Myers High School has refused to classify this awesome trip as a field trip because it wasn't their idea. As a result, my daughter has 2 absentee days on her record, which is not fair. This clearly counts as a school field trip. It has all the requirements. It was a trip, and what a trip. 14 hours driving, and I don't know how many miles walking, as Pam had said earlier. It was in the field. It was not at school. And it was clearly educational in nature. Not only did she learn a lot, but it was about standing up for our children's education. The Supreme Court has ruled that a parent has the right to teach their children and, in fact, are the primary educators of their children. If I were a homeschool parent, this would have counted as a field trip, hands down. I'm sure Tara Jenner could clarify that for us. Maybe I would do better as a homeschool parent. I urge Nancy Graham to intervene and fix this travesty of justice and not punish my daughter for doing what every adult in this county should be doing. And if she won't, I urge this board to insist that she does. I will not relent until I have a resolution on this. Thank you. Also, I just wanted to add, ordinarily we wear red to support and signify our pushback to stop Common Core. Today, I'm wearing green to celebrate St. Patrick, hero to Ireland, and chaser of snakes. I can only imagine what he would do to Common Core, the current snake of our time. I'm also wearing green in support of going forth and supporting HB 1121 and SB 1496. Thank you.
Ms. Fahey?
Thank you. Lori Fahey. At the last meeting, I asked all of you to create and distribute information regarding the Florida Standards Assessment and what our children could expect, what the rules are according to statute. That didn't happen. What happened was that it was word of mouth only. And parents did receive a letter from the schools, but what they received was, this is when your test is going to happen, and everyone is mandated to participate. I also sent you a copy of a piece that Seminole County sent out regarding the testing. I hope you all had a chance to read through that. It was really good information on the statutes. It did not support opt-out. I'm not asking any of you to support the opt-out, but we need good information. I forwarded a letter to you that was received to a parent from a principal that said, if you do not take the FSA, you cannot graduate. That is absolutely not true. I have just a small sampling of other misinformation that has been swirling around our school lately, our district lately, and I will forward this to you all. The first one is regarding a third grade teacher said that the principal just had a meeting with them last week to tell them that if a student breaks the seal and doesn't answer any questions, it is considered a 0 score and will adversely affect the teacher in the school. That is absolutely not true. And it's documented from the Florida Department of Education that that's not true. Another parent says that her daughter just passed the SAT, and the school guidance counselor is still insisting that she takes the FCAT in order to be able to graduate. That's not true. She's already achieved a concordant score. She should not have to take it. I should not be answering these questions for our parents. We need the guidelines. If you're able even just to borrow Seminole County's, I think that's a fabulous piece. I wish we could have been first. Another
Ms. Fahey, your
question.
time's up, ma'am.
Oh, well.
Yeah, please. Sierra Susco.
I'd like to talk about how we say the Pledge of Allegiance because it has been mentioned a time before by my little brother, and it's a pity that Miss Dozier isn't here because she says it the correct way. And the correct way is to say it as, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. Because if you add a pause, one nation under God, it means we're putting ourselves underneath the flag, not the nation under God. It makes a very big difference, and since, well, you guys have microphones when you say it, you are encouraging the rest of us, when people are actually still here, to say it the correct way so that when we leave, we can go out and, how do I say, plug into the rest of our community so that we can spread it correctly, because we don't want to be saying it the wrong way and have some foreign guy come over who has learned it the correct way and go, how do they mess up their own pledge? But I was just hoping that you would take that to heart and remember that and do that with me next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Board member comments. Ms. Fisher.
Well, I just want to thank all the people who took the time to come and speak. I'm listening to what you have to say. Sierra, I'll work on that next time, for sure. Mrs. Fahey, I will ask again and that we do provide accurate information. It's been a while since I've been a school counselor, but I know that if there's a concordance score made, then they don't have to retake the FCAT. So I guess we need to make sure that everybody knows what the accurate information is when they're in those positions. And again, I'm glad to be back, and thank you very much for all you do.
Mr. Teuber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have one issue. We seem to get a lot of confusion and a lot of consternation about, we moved the board member comments and we split it in half. And we said we'd try it. We tried to do it so we could get better feedback to our constituents. And quite frankly, I don't think it's working. I think we're creating a lot of animosity, a lot of problems and grief for you or the board chair, whoever it may be. I would just like this board to consider that maybe we just need to reverse it and go back to the way it was and put everything at the beginning so we don't have to take the time to segregate out the cards and figure out who's saying on what topic, and we lose that ability to that quick turnaround. But with the communication, being on as well as we've got now with technology, people can go home and they can see our comments, and they can, if they're interested, to see what we have to say, and if they don't stick around. So I just want to put that out for thought, and if anybody wants to move that forward, that's kind of where I'm at. So thank you.
Ms. LaRiviere.
Let's see. Sierra, thank you for what you said and pointing that out. However, there are several others of us who say it the correct way. We just don't always, may not be quite as loud. But we will make sure that we are as loud as possible. Although today when I was leading in the pledge, I did say it the correct way, and I thought, I don't hear anybody else doing it that way. So we will make our effort, because it is true, there is no comma there. There's nothing there to cause the pause. Except I think some people did it so they'd stop and take a breath. But if we know our singing rules, you don't always get to stop and take a breath. So that doesn't always happen. Thank you, Eric, for coming and sharing the information about the film festival. I purchased my tickets last week when I was in Tallahassee. So I was very saddened to see that not too many people had gotten tickets yet. So I highly encourage people to avail themselves of that opportunity, especially for the price rate that they do provide for teachers and for students. It's a great opportunity. And having a nephew who is getting his doctorate in literature and cinematography, however he puts it together, I sometimes can't even figure out what he's saying in his reviews. He's too far beyond me. But thank you. And it's a pleasure to have the opportunity for that to be here in Lee County. Mr. Fox, I agree. Everything should be in the open. And if there are any people out there who have any disagreements with regard to the sales tax, I wish they would come and speak openly at meetings rather than in quiet conversations. It needs to be a dialogue, a conversation. And I would like to see us as a community have that. Mr. Regal, I apologize. We had a tentative time to meet. However, I totally forgot that there was a board meeting that night, so therefore things got changed and life got in the way, but we will be rescheduling. So we'll have our time together. And life sometimes gets in the way with lots of commitments, and I, again, could not make Chris Ann Hall and the Duke Pesta because I was doing something else with regard to schools that evening, and so I missed that one day. One day I will be able to do that, and the Duke Pesta I had planned on going to, but then something came up and I had to change plans quickly. And I think that's all for tonight, except I just want you to know I just consider it a real honor to serve. And I will make lots of mistakes along the way. I thank people for patience. We are all in a learning process in all kinds of things. But I just really appreciate each one of you who comes and speaks and want you to know that you're heard. And we're all working as hard and the best that we can, every single one of us in this room. And so I just want you to know I see that and I commend you for that.
Thank you. Ms. Maza.
Okay, well, the film festival, you guys said the students are welcome to come. I think we should tell the schools about that because I didn't know about it from my parents, but not from like inside my school. So maybe if we got that out, that they would have more tickets.
Do some parent link or, social media. We can do some tweeting or something.
Yeah. All right, yep, that was it.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Teuber for leading us in Tallahassee. I think we had some very good meetings with the legislators, and he did a good job getting us organized and making certain that the critical points got tackled. And I'd like to thank our legislators because I think that they really did listen, and a number of them offered, I thought, thoughtful observations. So, in fact, I believe 2 board members at least will be going back up at some point in the future when things are a little bit further down the road with the legislature. We know how things are going. But I did want to note that Mr. Teuber did a great job. I will also be attending the film festival. I've already acknowledged. Dr. Graham, I think it would be helpful. The comment was made about the files and how they download. I don't know. I know.
Look into that
Yeah.
and see if it's something on our end.
Yeah. Okay. I know I don't have a problem with my technology, but there may be something we can do. Ms. Fahey, we have a communications problem. I know it's a work in progress. I appreciate what you brought to us. Thank you. And I think what I will suggest that we do is when we get around to a workshop on DSP 7, that we have a conversation again about the RFP process and just make certain that we all share a common understanding about how this is going to work to the best of the district. And I think that's it for my comments. Mr. Martin.
None this evening, thank you.
Dr. Graham.
Just, Ms. Fahey, if I don't know who you're sending those to, but as people ask you questions, if you could get them to my office quickly, we would get answers. And we had talked about doing an FAQ on our website for this very thing. I can assure you that the staff does have answers, and they're accurate answers, and those who are asking directly are getting them. So I'm not sure who's, and if they're not, I need to know that. And waiting until here is
not good.
It would be helpful if we knew as those things occur. Okay. As far as the concordance score, unless things have changed since I left the principalship, even if they have the concordance score, there is a requirement to take the test X number of times before the concordance score can count. But if we know who the kids are, then we can look into it and get them good answers. I know our staff, our school staff and our district staff keeps track of all of that. So, but I will acknowledge there's a lot of misinformation at a lot of levels. So, just a few things. I too want to thank the board for being so involved in the legislative process right now. 7 weeks of the session left, so as we know, what was going on last week and this week may look very different 7 weeks from now, but I think our work with Mr. Sarah and as a board, it's impressive that you all are as involved as you are. Some interesting news. We have 2 lighthouse schools for Leader in Me, which is a big deal. I think there are 106 in the world, and 2 of them have come from Lee County. One was recognized publicly in January, and the other just got word. And so we're excited about that. And many of our elementary schools and some of our middle schools now are looking into Leader in Me, which is the younger version of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We just had a site visit last week with the head of the Leader in Me Foundation, and their role is to provide funds for schools to implement Leader in Me. They have never done pre-K, the little guys, and they've never used, and it's about empowering children to take responsibility and be confident and be leaders. And they came and did a site visit to the Early Childhood Learning Center last week, took a tour, planning to come back in April, and they believe that they're very interested in piloting Leader in Me at the pre-K level here in Lee County. They would take care of all expenses and use us as a model for other pre-Ks in the country to come look at to watch Leader in Me work. So we're very excited about the potential that's there. When you have a 4-year-old walk up to you with his little Home Depot apron on, and there's a picture of a wink and a picture of a hug, and he looks at each adult and says, "How would you like to be greeted today?" with a wink or a hug. And I never worked with the little guys, so I'm always amazed that they actually walk and talk and make sense. And so it was very impressive, made me cry. But anyway, we're excited about that, and we will keep you informed on that. I had the privilege of being on the bus to go meet the Golden Apple, to be part of the Golden Apple announcements on Friday. And the beauty of teachers who get a recognition like that, they understand they're representative of hundreds. And every single one of them said that. I just represent a lot of really wonderful teachers. Interestingly, and I'm not being sexist, but it's unusual, we have 4 men this year and 2 women. And we also have 2 from each zone. We have 3 at middle, 2 at elementary, and 1 at high school, so it's a nice mix. And I think we will hear probably some wonderful comments from them going forward and at the celebration in their honor. One other thing that I just need some direction, and I know that Mr. Fox brought up the referendum issue. Until you all have a public discussion about that, and I'm not asking for that tonight because I need to get on the road, but I would like to suspend staff work. We were working on things to bring you on April 14th, and I would like to suspend that until I get further direction from the board. And I just need consensus to do that. Okay. And then finally, I will just say this. 2 other things. Last year, we have that group of Golden Apple teachers from a year ago who made it their business to create a scholarship for a child to go to college, major in education, then come back and teach. And they gave their first one last year. And their big fundraiser is that we allow teachers to pay and wear jeans for a week, which kills a lot of us who didn't ever do that when we were in school. But the principals play, and they let the teachers do that. And last year, they raised $15,391. And that was very exciting. And this year, they have raised, and I thought I had the amount with me, but they are over that this year. And their hope is that next year they will be able to give 2 scholarships. So, this year so far, when prior to the end of the total, it was $15,643. So they are making and I see it as teachers helping grow new teachers, because it's teachers that are providing the funds for this group of Golden Apple teachers to present that scholarship. So we're very, very excited and proud of them for that. Then one other thing, the character word was courage, and I don't know if you've seen the 2015 version of Cinderella, but I will tell you that the theme of that is Cinderella repeats it over and over again, and her mother advised her to have courage and be kind, and then everything else would work out. So I thought of that tonight with the character words. So courage and kindness, two things that would serve our district well. With that, I continue to be truly honored to be allowed to lead this district.
Yes, Ms. LaRiviere.
And I just want to thank you that you are willing to start the halfway drive up to Tallahassee tonight and ready to do your part of the legwork for legislative work. Thank you.
The next scheduled meetings of the board on Tuesday, April 14th, there's a special school board meeting at 2 p.m., immediately followed by a briefing meeting, as well as a school board action meeting at 6 p.m. At this point, having no other business to come before this body, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Fisher. Second by Ms. LaRiviere. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-0.